Welcome aboard the Salty Pearl. Next stop, Ice Crown Citadel.
Let's get salty!
Cheers!
Cheers!
What's up? Welcome to episode 18 of the Salty Dog Podcast. I'm Clash.
Welcome.
He's Dookie. As always, we are your salty captains.
That's right. So we've got like a whole big-ass batch of cards once again. I think we're actually going to skip over a few of the less interesting ones today as we go over them.
Yeah, I left only a couple of them out. We have, I think, about 34 cards we're looking at. We're looking at almost everything we haven't gone over. There's just a couple things that we decided, meh.
So maybe you want a 3-hour show, but probably not. So we're gonna try to keep it to just the best, most interesting stuff.
Definitely, and there's a lot of it too. I found it really hard to cut even some of the stuff that I did. So
yeah, for sure.
Set's looking super cool so far, if nothing else.
Cool. That's good pun.
I didn't actually even mean to do that, but I will take credit for it.
Take credit. Take all the credit for that pun.
Anyway, so how has your week in Hearthstone been?
You know, it's been good because I said, fuck the ladder because I'm so done with it right now. And Ahun has just been so graciously giving us arena runs.
Yeah, isn't that guy so much cooler than Ragnaros?
Oh my god, he's so much cooler than Ragnaros. He's a lot more chill, I think.
Ragnaros has 0 chill, right?
Yeah, it's 0 chill.
You cannot just, hang out with that guy.
No, he's a hothead for sure. Yeah. So,
I'm out of puns. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I'll think, I'm having a little bit of brain freeze, but I might think of more.
You win.
So, anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, arena. So, my relationship with arena has always been very tumultuous. I'm very passionate about arena in that I get upset and quit in a fit of passion. So, this week I said let's try. And I've actually been having some good games with like some kind of like mediocre decks where like I'm behind the whole time and then I just like edge out a victory and it feels good. It feels good to do that.
Yeah.
Like my last run I finished, I managed to get Prince Malchezaar, which that can completely change your whole situation.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it just changes. Like it's a different deck every time, basically. And there was one I was telling you about this when it was happening. There was one game where I put out. I can't remember who came first. Oh no, I remember. I put out Mayor Noggenfogger.
That's a great one.
And then he lived, and I was like, cool, because it's kind of hard to kill him.
Yeah,
specifically.
Really, yeah.
And then the next turn, I'm like, this is ultimate troll move. I'm gonna drop Nozdormu.
Oh my god, that is the ultimate troll move for sure.
But like I had to because I was behind, and my strategy was like, okay, I'm gonna flood the board as much as I can, put out Mayor Noggenfogger, put out Nozdormu. Good fucking luck, buddy. And
and Noggenfogger's animation that happens when you point like a minion or a spell, that takes up even more time because it makes the target. Yeah, that's crazy.
I knew that going in. I was like, it was like back when Secret Paladin was a thing, and you literally didn't have enough time to do your turn because the secret animations after Mysterious Challenger came out were like they all took so much time. It took up the whole turn.
Right. Yeah. And
I would be like, I don't even know what to do. Like that deck was broken because there wasn't enough time.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, I do remember those games. Yeah. Mysterious Challenger was a sad time.
So anyway, fun arena times, and
you won that game, right?
And I did win that game.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. And I was telling you about earlier how I just finished building this bomb-ass Paladin arena deck.
Yeah.
So maybe after the show, we can stream some runs with that. Once we do our
arena, I dig, yeah.
Once we do our viewer games, but anyway,
yeah.
Enough about me. How's your week been?
My week's been, I mean, nothing really of note, honestly. I had some decent arena runs. I mean, obviously, arena's kind of the thing to do right now, right? I mean, I feel like a lot of people, including us, of course, are a little sick of the current meta. And, you know, we have a Hoon here so graciously handing us free arena wins and free arena runs. So, yeah, I've been doing a lot of that. I haven't got any 12 wins recently, but I've gotten pretty decent.
Oh, no 12s recently? Darn.
I like getting 12s, okay? But,
I mean, who wouldn't? I got a 5, that one that I was just talking about. It went to 5, and I was like, I'm okay with this.
Yeah. No, 5, I'm happy with a 5-win run.
I'm happy with a 4.
I've had several pretty low ones, honestly. I think the best I've done so far in like the last month or so was like an 8 wins on like Rogue or something.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm doing a lot of that. I hit the ladder a little bit just to like test the waters, and the waters were very treacherous and maddening. Yeah,
so. I dipped my toe in to the waters and it gets gnawed off by piranhas, and then I'm like, not today, Satan.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I got to rank 9 last season, and I did it mostly with still like kind of, I think there's like a new version of this mage deck out, but I'm still using like kind of the classic one where you use the, you know, double Firelands portals and Medivh and all that stuff. Right. So I just really enjoy that deck, and you know, it's got a lot of those mechanics that can allow you to come back from bad positions. So I had some fun with that, but you know, we're just waiting for Knights of the Frozen Throne. I mean,
well, have you heard about the very first ever S tier deck on Tempo Storm?
S tier? What are you talking about?
S tier. So we're in the anime grading scale here.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah. No, I haven't heard. What is it?
All right. So the S tier deck, if you go on Tempo Storm and you look at the meta snapshot, it's above tier 1 and it's S tier. And
what?
It's actually it is Freeze Evolve Shaman. So
Freeze Evolve.
Yeah, Freeze Evolve. So what you've got, well, I'll just tell you the deck list. You've got Evolve, Glacial Shard.
Okay.
All right, you with me?
Yeah. I mean, okay. That's what came to mind when you said Evolve Freeze anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Ice Lance.
Wait,
you
what?
Still with me? Okay, so Cryostasis, Frostbolt, Counterspell.
What? Are you literally making this up like right now?
Because Frost Nova, Icebreaker, Master Revolution.
What in the actual hell are you talking about?
Thrall Deathseer, Voodoo Hexer, Murabi. So it runs some staples.
I'm looking this up because like I don't believe you currently.
So that's the current best deck. So if you it's
oh my God.
The archetype explanation. If you look at the past meta snapshots, you will notice that Mage is extremely powerful. I have decided to borrow some of Jaina's cards in order to make my creation unstoppable. I mean that literally, as I've implemented Mage's freeze mechanic into my deck, preventing the enemy minions from stopping me. And this is written by the Lich King himself, so...
Oh, well, of course.
This is his personal...
He does own Tempo Storm. I mean the Frozen Pwn anyway.
The Frozen Pwn.
This should be expected.
We better be careful about what we say, because the Lich King has eyes and ears everywhere. So...
That is hilarious. I had not seen that yet. That is great. Oh my God.
Yeah, a little Easter egg from our friends at Tempo Storm.
They're doing such a great job with that whole like viral marketing, like cross promotion sort of thing. It's so cool to see.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and did you hear like that fire new rap from Lil Brody?
I saw it in my subscriptions and I didn't watch it. Did you listen to it?
Yeah. Arthas, where did this go wrong? Why did you turn to darkness?
Is it a pretty sick mixtape?
It's really good, actually. Honestly, I think he missed his calling.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Young Goro rap was fantastic.
Yeah,
so.
You should definitely check it out. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Well, anyway, speaking of Arthas going wrong here, we got a lot of cards to talk about, like we already said, so let's go straight into looking at some of these now.
What's happening?
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop.
Time is money, friend. Keep it quick, kid. I ain't got all day.
All right, so like we usually do, we're going to do the neutral minions here first. We have Necrotic Geist first, which is a 6-mana 5/3. Should be an undead, but it's not.
It should be.
Whenever one of your other minions dies, summon a 2/2 ghoul. I think this is really cool. Like, the stat distribution, obviously, on 6 mana makes them really easy to kill. But the main thing that I wanted to point out is that, if anybody remembers from our last show's card submission challenge, we had a submission that was almost exactly this card.
Yep.
And
it was that Valkyr Herald or something?
Valkyr Herald, yes, yep. Yes. So, just goes to show you that people who listen to the Salty Dog podcast know what's up. And that was actually submitted by I'm a Dragon, so props again to you for that one, man, because they basically made this into an actual Hearthstone card. Obviously, his was a little more powerful because it had better stat line, like more survivability, and it had the Death Rattle to buff on deads, but super close.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, this card is... I don't think this is bad. I think it's pretty solid. Like, I mean, it's kind of the same idea as a Cult Master.
Exactly, and its stat distribution is the same, almost.
Yeah. Right. It's 2 more mana, and it's got +1/+1. Exactly. But the cool thing about this, I guess it's not... The effect doesn't generate as much potential value as Cult Master, but you get such an immediate effect off of this.
Right.
Like, this is almost like, if you've got a decent board when this comes out, it's almost a board wipe, because you just drop this, trade off everything, and then you've still got minions. Yeah,
I mean, this basically comes down packed with, like, built in with Soul of the Forest. So you're getting a body, and as long as you have an established board, which is something that Paladins can do really easily, something that Druids can do really easily, Shamans, just, you know, if you have, like, a Zoo Flood type deck, you throw this down, and you make all the trades... You get all the 2/2s back, and you just got some insane value off of that, which is crazy. I mean, obviously this is only going to live 1 turn, unless, you know...
Unless you're going to win.
A miracle happens, and they just don't have a kill for this, but you better plan your turn to make this count when you drop them. But, I mean, just as far as a neutral common goes, they don't get much more powerful than this. This is pretty good.
I give it 3 salties, just because it's not always going to go off. But
no, it definitely won't always, yeah.
But it also has tons of potential.
Yeah, I agree. All right, next we have Cobalt Scale, which is another super interesting common minion, neutral minion. 5 mana, 5/5 dragon. So we got Lotheb's stat line there, like just a solid minion and a dragon tag. And at the end of your turn, give another random friendly minion +3 attack. Just like Master Swordsmith, only it's 3 attack, and it's on an amazingly statted minion. I think this is crazy. I think this is crazy good.
I think this is solid.
Really? Like,
yeah.
Okay. Well, how do you feel about it? Like,
I just, you know, as someone who knows that nothing lasts very long, it's okay. This card has a very high chance of doing jack shit.
Okay.
Because, like, okay, it's a 5/5 for 5, and that's not bad. Like, you know, you're never too sad to play a 5 mana 5/5. So, I mean, that's what's good about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it has an ability, so that's cool too. But you're not giving anything any more like survivability, and your turn is over. So giving something +3 attack is actually like pretty inconsequential, I think, because whatever gets buffed is probably becoming, you know, target number 1 to be killed.
Probably, but it became...
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. I get what you're saying, but to me, it made something that wasn't a threat into a threat. And that in and of itself, like, even though you don't get the initiative to attack with the minion that's buffed, it's a minion that they may not have frostbolted that they now need to frostbolt, you know what I mean? And then that card sucks that in. And the other thing about this is that the kind of deck that's going to run this, I think, is really similar to that's going to run the card we just looked at. It's going to be something that has a bunch of board presence and minions that would benefit greatly, you know, little weenie minions that'll benefit greatly from this. And the main way to combat that kind of a deck is with board wipes. This is amazingly resilient against most of the board wipes in the game. It's immune to Dragonfire Potion, which is the biggest one. completely immune to Dragonfire Potion. It survives Flame Strike.
Flame Strike.
Yeah. So this card just comes down and it just like establishes itself, gives you a great board. I would give this 4 stars. I think this is gonna find a place.
Yeah, I actually think its best pairing is gonna be with the taunt minion, because that has to be dealt with. But like if they're planning on making trades, then they have to run everything into the taunt minion, and then it's more likely to like kill their stuff.
Yeah.
But I definitely get what you're saying, and that actually makes a lot of sense. It makes things good that weren't good.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like it's a far less immediate, like Flame Tongue Totem type thing. It takes a minion that you would just ignore and makes it into a threat, which is super cool.
Yeah, no, it's solid.
Yeah. All right, so I love the next one just as much. It's like they release these all like rapid fire, like all these super awesome neutral common minions that just do something more than we've seen historically from neutral minions. So up next we have Sunborne Valkyr, which is 5 mana, 5/4. So already that's like decent stats for a 5-drop. You can usually get a 5/4 for 4, but its battle cry gives adjacent minions +2 health. So, like, in the way that the last card we didn't look at doesn't make your board more survivable, this comes down and does exactly that, which is crazy.
Right, yes. Yeah, and I mean, when you buff one minion with this, you're essentially getting what you pay for 5 mana, but if you're able to buff 2, then you're definitely getting, like, hella value out of this thing. Plus, the things you're buffing are ready to attack and ready to trade, so you can go in and make some, like, super good value trades when you buff these things' health.
Right, exactly. And it makes being able to use minions with higher attack and lower health something that you can like do a little bit more readily when you're running this card, because you know that you're going to have this to come down and bring up their health totals and actually be able to use that higher attack for value trades and stuff, which is super cool. Yeah, I think this is an amazing arena card, and I could possibly see it finding its way into constructed, but that's definitely not guaranteed. Yeah,
I could see it in maybe priest or something that really like heavily depends on getting the most value that you can out of every single minion you play.
Right. It's similar to like Talon Priest in that way.
Right, exactly. So you drop something on turn 1, then on turn 2 that gets power word shielded, and then you trade with it, and then on turn 3 it gets Talon Priested, and then you trade with it, and then on turn 4 you heal it, and then you trade with it, and then on turn 5 you do this, and then you trade, and you squeeze all the value you can out of every single minion, which is very fresh in my mind because I was just doing a priest arena, so with Talon Priest. So yeah, no, I think this is solid.
I do too. Yeah, I love that we're not just getting more Chillwind Yetis, more pit fighters and stuff. We're getting cards that have interesting effects that aren't just outright better. Like this is not outright better than a pit fighter or something, but it fills a niche and that's always much more interesting than just like here's my vanilla 5/6. So I'm really liking the direction they're taking neutral minions. Speaking of which, this is another super cool one. Neutral Epic Skulking Geist. 6 mana, 4/6 battle cry. Destroy all 1-cost spells in both players' hands and decks.
This thing's whack.
That's super weird, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of, this is something similar almost to like the new I can only think of Harrison Jones, the Hunter, the dwarf, Hemet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like the Hemet. Except this is the first instance that we're going to see tonight, because I believe there is at least one other card that actually affects your opponent's card supply.
Right.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, they're finally like getting into that territory where you can actually mess with how many cards your opponent has left or has to work with. Yeah. The main thing, and I honestly think that this card was printed with exactly one card in mind, and that's Jade Idol.
That makes sense.
To stop the incessant ramp or ramping up Jades that they get to when they get to late game and shuffle several times with gadgets and auctioneer, and you're just like, wow, you just blow them all up. It gives you like a chance when you reach that stage of the game. Like if you need some tech against Jade Druid, this is incredible against Jade Druid.
Yeah, I definitely see this as a tech card. I can see, it's great against Druid because you get like their super cheap spells, like you get their Wraths. Wrath is 2.
There's not a whole lot of one-cost spells.
I guess they don't. It's pretty good against Rogue. Rogue has... Well, I keep thinking of 0 mana and 2 mana things.
Yeah, no, Rogue's not... Rogue has cards that they've used in the past that are 1-drops.
Yeah,
like Deadly Poison. With Rogue, you could get their little razor petals that they get off if it's like one of those kind of miracle rogues. In Priest you get powered shields and stuff. It's not always going to have an application, right?
Yeah, it gets Paladin secrets, but not a lot of those get run.
Yeah.
I guess 1-cost spells are pretty few and far between. So I don't know. It's weird.
That's why I'm saying I think that it pretty much like this is Jade Destroyer. Like this is something that like if you're playing a control deck and every time you match against Jade Druid, it's like an auto loss for you because of the inevitability of Jades, and like no matter how much value you generate, it doesn't matter. Then you just pop one of these in. And if you're not playing against Jade Druid, you've got a 6-mana 4/6, which kind of sucks. But if you are, you drastically even your odds.
Right. And this isn't gonna, it's crazy to think about like destroying something that your opponent hasn't even had the opportunity to like use yet because it's still in their deck or in their hand. But this isn't coming out until mid to late game.
Right.
So it's not like you're able to blow somebody's strategy completely out of the water.
Right, you can blow Jade Druid's end game out of the water, like their whole Gadgets and Auctioneer Factory thing.
Right, yeah. Exactly. The fact that they can just ramp and just spiral out of control. So yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it should just be like battle cry. We fucked up with Jade Idol, and here we want to fix this. So that's really interesting. It's kind of like like a bandage fix, like Gorlaka Crawler was for pirates, kind of sort of thing.
Right.
All right, up next. What?
We know how well that went.
Yeah, it does get run. And it's pretty devastating when it works. So we have Corpse Razor next, which is a 5-mana rare neutral minion. It's 3/3 stats, battle cry. Give a friendly minion death rattle, resummon this minion. Which is, that's a powerful effect, but is it worth 5 mana for a 3/3 just to get it? I'm not totally sold on that.
Yeah, you basically have to make up for paying that extra mana with whatever you're targeting this with being super worth it to bring back,
Exactly.
And the fact that it's it's a battle cry that happens like as soon as you play this card, then you are in control for the most part of when that minion dies and death rattles.
Right.
So, you can play this, trade with something, get it right back, and then maybe it was worth it.
Maybe. And I think it's going to be maybe run in like a class or two. Like, I could see this possibly getting run. The one best death rattle card in the game is always just Tyrion. Like, now that Sylvanas is gone, Tyrion's just incredible. So, would it be worth it to play this guy just to give Tyrion death rattle or resummon himself? Maybe, because he's so incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to kind of be up to each individual like class if they have a target that's worthy of including this just to get a second copy of it. Like, I don't even think it would be worth it to hit like, Cairn with this or something. Like, it's got to be something with like stopping power on the board or like an amazing effect, you know, like it.
I don't know. I think Cairn is an insane target for this.
It's like a decent target, but like I have a love-hate relationship with Cairn because I've tried to play so much Death Rattle Priest, and that card does not affect the board as much as you would think it does. Especially like in a constructed scenario where you're either getting pounded down by aggro or, you know, this deck is generating so much value against you or something, and you have to take a whole turn to play a 4 or 5. And yeah, it's going to come back, but like it doesn't have taunt, it didn't do anything to the board. It's not really like a board flipper like Tyrion is. Like it comes down and it's just like there, you know?
I feel like it's either power creep or it's like just the meta in general has made Cairn kind of, I mean, you don't see him.
No,
you know,
he's just not good enough. Like you play him and nothing happens. Like,
and it's like, well, I don't know, maybe he should have taunt or something. But then it's like, please don't fucking do that. Like, Jesus, calm down, Satan.
Maybe Bane could have taunt. You know, like after they, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, yeah, it's really just comes down to, is there something that's worth hitting this with? And
yeah,
you know, there are cheaper alternatives. Like if you wouldn't run this in Shaman because you have Ancestral Spirit. And we're going to talk about that card again when
we sure are.
When we see another card. All right, so that's it for neutral minions. Up next we have first warrior card, Animated Berserker. 1 mana, 1/3. So that's, you know, those are basically the stats you want on a 1-drop. Those are really good 1-drops.
Now that's the new 1-drop, is the 1 mana, 1/3. Because 2 1s are just shit now.
Pretty much, yeah. And 1/2s are just like, meh.
Yeah.
And you know, 1/1s have given you a card. That's what we're seeing now. 1/1s equal you get a card.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Animated Berserker says when you play a minion, deal 1 damage to it. I think that this is like a trap. Like, I think this is one of those cards that, whether they intended it to be this way or not, it's like a pitfall trap for people who really want to take advantage of warrior cards that synergize with taking damage.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't want to just start playing your minions with 1 less health. Even if they are doing something beneficial for you when they come out, there are better ways to trigger that than including this incredibly low value card in your deck just to get maybe 1 or 2 triggers off of it.
The only thing, and this is something that Dougie Fresh just pointed out.
Okay.
What this pairs so well with is Garrosh. Or, sorry, Grommash, Hellscream.
Okay, I can see that.
Because once you're at 10 mana, he's 1, and this guy, Animated Berserker is 1, and Grom is 9. So,
yes.
Boom, instant, what is he, like a 10-4 or something?
I think he's a 4/6, so he'd be a 10/5, yeah.
10/5, yeah.
10/5 charge. So. Yeah, but there are other ways that we've already seen, like just your second swing on your Blood Razor can do that on turn 9. And it can do it a turn earlier. Yeah.
I agree. This is something like when I first started playing Hearthstone, I would have been like, yes, this is what I need to make my Enraged deck work. And then I would have been mad because I would have dropped my like Amani Berserker. I've been like, why is my 5/2 dying every time I play it? That sucks. So, or like, you know, you throw out your Raging Worgen, and I'm like, why is my 4/2 dying on turn 3 or 4?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So
haven't really seen anything that you want to damage that badly, like on curve, to where this would make sense to use. Just because the card itself is so low value.
Grommash is a 4/9.
4/9. Oh, sorry, I thought he was a 4/6.
So he would be a 10/8.
Oh my god, that card is OP. That card, I love that card. I actually kind of hope Grommash like finds a spot in, because I kind of miss seeing him around.
Grom is dope.
Yeah, he is cool. All right, so if there was one card though that you could sort of make an argument that you want to hit on curve with the card we just saw, without having to spend any more mana to damage it, it would be this. Valkyr Soulclaimer, 3 mana, 1/4. When it takes damage, summon a 2/2 ghoul. So this is like a mini lower mana version of Grim Patron. And paying 3 mana for a 1/4 is going to feel so bad to do. But we already do that for Stonehill Defender. But we know we're getting a shitload of value off that card no matter what happens, because we're getting it off of Battle Cry. But this could easily, without something damaging it immediately the turn you play it, could easily come down, do nothing, and die. I mean, usually you're going to get at least 1/2/2 off of it. But, you know, priests can Shadow Word Pain this. There are going to be ways to kill it in one hit, so you only get 1/2/2. Not really sure how I feel about this card yet.
Yeah. Well, the thing about what was it, Animated Berserker? Is that what the last card was?
Animated Berserker. Yep.
Berserker? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing about that is it's not going to be good with, like, enraged stuff, which is just going to, like, die from being low health. But if they keep making stuff like this Valkyr Soul Claimer...
Yeah.
Then, and you always, or almost always, have something to play, like, on curve after this one drop, and you're getting, like, tons of value from having things being dealt 1 damage, you know, as soon as you play them, then I feel like that card could be good.
It could, and I was saying, this is the card that gets the closest to saying, yeah, let's use Animated Berserker.
Yeah, it just needs things to support it.
Yeah, I think it needs a little bit more, yeah. But, I mean, this card it remains to be seen. Like, I honestly feel like I can't really say if people are going to want to play this. My brain says not overpowered enough. Like, it's just too meh, kind of.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I could be wrong. Well, we'll have to see. How do you feel? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you see Stonehill Defender come down, despite whatever they discover, you know, a lot of the time I'm still like, damn, this really keeps me from... Because 4 health is pretty decent on turn 3. And I'm like, this keeps me from making, like, the trades I want to make. And you usually have to, like, ram it with more than one thing. So, I don't know. I mean, I think this
But that has taunt, though, right? That comes down and it protects other minions. Oh, God,
this doesn't have taunt.
Yeah.
This whole time I'm sitting here thinking this had taunt. Oh, no, this is bad. This is bad.
That's funny. Yeah, it's really the absence of taunt on this that it's just too easy for your opponent to ignore, and that means that you're making trades that probably aren't even killing anything because it only has 1 attack, and you're making 2/2 ghouls on your turn, which then, of course, don't have charge. So your opponent then also gets to decide how to deal with those on their turn. So
So
in general, I just don't think
this is like a build around.
Sort of.
Like, your deck's gonna have to be, like, themed around this.
Right.
This effect. So
around, like, whirlwind and damaging your own minions effects. But even if your deck was
just what there is to support this.
Right. And even if there is a deck out there that does run a lot of whirlwind effects, maybe not even in that still. But we'll see.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. But this is definitely going to see play as long as there is a viable control warrior, which it really seems like there will be. Dead Man's Hand. Shuffle a copy of your hand into your deck, which, I mean, Fatigue Warrior, Fatigue Warrior, Fatigue Warrior. That's what this is pointing at.
Fatigue Warrior, Wet Dream, right here.
I mean, you just wait until you've filled your hand with incredibly high value stuff, which is going to be so easy for Control Warrior because of how well they can survive. You know, the main way that you could actually win against Control Warrior was pulling out all of what they call their premium removal, right? Getting them to have to use it inefficiently on some of your targets. Like, you got to get those shield slams out on early minions that they can't deal with any other way. You gotta get their executes out, and, like, finally you're like, I'm through it. I finally made it, but no, now you won't be able to because they'll just Dead Man's Hand when they've got shield slams and executes in their hand and fill their deck with more copies of it. And I don't know if this is a world that I'm gonna want to live in, honestly.
I certainly don't. I don't support Fatigue Warrior as a concept. I'm morally opposed to Fatigue Warrior. I think winning on Fatigue is winning on a technicality, and I don't think it's a valid win condition, and I don't think Blizzard should support it as a win condition.
I mean, I totally get where you're coming from. There's bound to be a lot of people who disagree with you, obviously, but I actually thought that Blizzard was actually kind of going away from this archetype based off of the Warrior Quest. Because the Warrior Quest plays out in a not even that similar way to Control Warrior, but it is a stall tactic, putting up like this wall, right?
Yes.
And they give you inevitability that doesn't center around fatigue, which is the die insect hero power.
Right.
So I'm not. Yeah, they just like again like this is kind of like the hunter cards we're seeing that are going completely 180 degrees in the other direction from what they did in Ungoro, and I think this is the same thing. They're doing the same thing with Warrior now. So
right.
It's really kind of
strange.
strange.
I don't know. The good thing, the one saving grace here, and it's so fucking cheap. Like, this card's 2 mana, so who even cares? But the saving grace here is that this does nothing immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if this was like shuffle a copy of your hand into your deck, draw a card, get a blowjob, you win the lottery. Like, so
yeah,
it doesn't do anything immediately, but that doesn't really matter because they're not going to play this on turn 2. They're going to play this on like turn 17 when they have the perfect hand that they want.
Exactly.
And
they're going to be sitting there. It's going to be a mini game. Like, craft the hand that you want to shuffle into your deck. Yeah.
And then they're going to have, 8 mana left that turn to fuck you over whatever way. So, no, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm. The more I think about it, the more benefits I see. Like, they can more aggressively use their Acolytes of Pain without being punished for that because of the deck padding that this gives you. They can use their Acolytes of Pain to build the hands that they want to put in. They're almost going to be guaranteed to get 8+ cards shuffled back into the deck. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Anyway, up next we have Stitch Tracker. Oh, we're moving on to Hunter here. Stitch Tracker. 3 mana, 2/2, Battle Cry. Discover a copy of a minion in your deck. This just reminds me 100% of Abominable Bowman in that you want this in the same kind of deck that you want Bowman in. Which is a deck that doesn't run Alley Cat and Fiery Bat and Rat Pack, like all these low value, low cost minions.
Yeah, this is not aggro Hunter at all.
Yeah.
This is some kind of, it might not even be mid range.
I mean, I do think it can fit into mid range. I mean, obviously, like grabbing an extra copy of Savannah Highmane is like the dream there, but obviously you have to have more minions in your deck than just Highmane. And some of them are going to have to be a little lower cost, but this is absolutely a build-around mechanic, like Shadow Visions is in Priest. Like, you can't just start throwing spells into a Priest deck willy-nilly if you're planning on running Shadow Visions, because you're diluting your Discover. And that's exactly the same thing that you're going to have to watch out for if you want to play this card. You can't be playing all those fire, low drops.
Yeah.
Because it won't make sense to discover those.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, this is another variant of Cabal Courier and of the Paladin 3 mana 2/2 that discovers the Divine Shield minion. Which
we have him in here. Yeah,
we're talking about him this week. So that seems to be the price tag on 2/2 Discover is 3 mana. So it's I don't know. This really is kind of meta dependent.
Absolutely. It just is going to depend on if there's a mid-rangey / kind of control-oriented Hunter deck that wants to discover more copies of their minions.
Yep.
Yeah. And if not, then this card is not going to see the light of day. All right. We only have one other Hunter card, which is a great card to discover off of the card we just saw, by the way. And that's the Corpse Widow. 5 mana, 4/6. Your Death Rattle cards cost 2 less.
This ain't bad.
I agree. This is definitely a 4 salt minion for me at least. Obviously Hunter has a ton of Death Rattle cards. There are Death Rattle cards that would be free if you played this, giving you the potential to have a huge board swing on turn 5. You can
and then you get blizzarded and you cry.
But all of the cards you played have Death Rattle.
That's true.
Blizzard doesn't really matter that much. I mean, you could play Kindly Grandmother, Fiery Bat. Sure, there's maybe another 1 or 2 in there that I'm missing that you could play for free on the same turn.
Yeah, no, this, I mean, a 4/6 at 5 is fine.
Right.
You're not losing a ton of tempo by dropping this and then having, nothing really come of it.
Yeah, and it's not a bad minion. I mean, a 4/6
and
is
it's a beast.
Great. Yeah, and it's a beast, and it's a 4/6. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with this card. If you're running at least a couple Death Rattle cards, which you should be because you're an hunter, then you should run this card. I mean, it's good.
This is a spider, I would like to point out.
Ooh. Ugh. I'm uncomfortable now. Let's move on.
Yeah, that's a fucked up spider.
Oh, is that what you were doing? Otaku's phone was in his pocket. That's hence the spam. All right. Next.
And it just happened to spew a bunch of hentai at us.
Nice. That's perfect. Hey, I mean, you know, anything can happen, right? So, moving on to Priest now, we have Shadow Ascendant, which is quite the center of some controversy as far as how good this card's going to be. Mm-hmm. It is a 2-mana common minion for Priest, 2/2 stats. At the end of your turn, give another random friendly minion +1/+1. It's kind of really hard for me to make a call on this because I see the arguments for and against this.
Yeah, I can definitely see that too.
Yeah, I mean, the main arguments against this, Priest doesn't often hit curve at all. I mean, usually you see a Priest pass turn 1 and then Hero Power emote on turn 2, which is the backbone of the class, really. And how are you going to Hero Power emote if you have to play Shadow Ascendant on 2?
Exactly. How are you going to heal yourself in the face? Yeah, this is really going to depend on, like, because this has to be played on turn 2. Maybe turn 3, but ideally turn 2. Otherwise, it's like, what's I don't know, what's giving something +1/+1 at the end of your turn gonna do, you know, mid to late game?
There are definitely arguments for it, but they're kind of few and far between. It's like how incredible is hitting this on curve when you've stuck a Northshire Cleric to the board? Then your Northshire becomes a 2/4. That's incredible. Right.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, if the 1-drop supply is decent enough for Priest, then this could be really good. Like, because Northshire Clerics have a pesky tendency to survive.
Exactly. And you want that.
And you want that. And, you know, being able to make this make Northshire Cleric a 2/4 and have the tempo of playing a minion and, you know, not having to do just like a power word shield, which is inefficient because it's 1 mana and you're not using your other mana. You could even use the coin and make this thing a 2/5, and you've got a 2/4 and a 2/5, and like things could get really, really demoralizing really quickly. But it's going to depend on the supply of 1-drops for Priest.
I agree. If maybe another really solid 1-drop comes out, then you could possibly justify playing this. But at this point, I honestly can't see myself using it. I mean, obviously, I'd make like a deck construction that tried to run it, but I really don't. Like, there are so many boards that this just won't do anything on. Like,
will we see for the first time an aggro Priest?
That entirely depends. 100% depends on the Death Knight Anduin. If the Death Knight Anduin opens up the opportunity, giving you a more aggressive hero power and is a low cost that basically allows you to shift from your typical Priest, maybe. But I have tried many times in my career.
We've both tried.
Yeah, to make an aggressive Priest, and it does not go well.
But the potential is there, because as many times as I tried to make an aggro warrior deck in the past, and I just came to the conclusion, like, without a hero power that supports an aggressive playstyle, you can't have an aggressive deck.
Right.
And Pirate Warrior has proved that theory wrong.
Right.
So,
and it only took a couple cards, honestly.
And
like
it really did.
Yeah,
but,
so.
You know, Warrior has weapons, and Priest does not. So
that is a big part of it, too. So I really think a lot of this is going to depend on Death Knight Anduin, and I've been waiting to see what he's going to be. But we do not have him, of course. He has not been revealed yet. But we do have Devour a Mind, which I feel like this is always the case with Priest cards, new Priest cards coming out. They're always so controversial. Like, this sucks. Like, it's either this is just god-awful or this is amazing.
Yeah.
And usually it ends up being somewhere in between, but closer to unplayable. So, Devour Mind is like Thought Steal plus 5 mana, copy 3 cards in your opponent's deck and add them to your hand. Thought Steal is not seeing any play, hasn't seen play in a while. But it's like a decent value generator, and it helps you in the fatigue game if we are heading towards this so-called, control meta here.
Yeah.
Devour Mind is just a card that you would use instead of that, if that's what you want. I mean, this can be used as a great one-of, because, just getting those 3 extra cards, like kind of how Mage used to one-of Kabbalist Tomes when they needed a little extra value in certain metas in the past.
And that's what you would compare it to is Kabbalist Tome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like Kabbalist Tome and Thoughtsteal had a mutated baby.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's incredible, and I don't think it's terrible. Again, like I said, it's somewhere in the middle there, and it's really just depends on if you can afford to spend 5 mana to generate 3 random cards.
Yeah.
And,
I think I'm leaning towards this is not going to see play.
Yeah, I would lean a little towards that.
Unless this meta is so slow.
Yeah. What we've seen from Warrior gives me a little pause. Saying that we may not, we definitely won't see cards like this being played, just because of the potential I see in Fatigue Warrior coming up. But
yeah,
we shall see. But nothing new here. Just you pay 1 more mana, or 2 more mana, you get 1 more card. Off Thoughts.
Yep.
So next we have Embrace Darkness. This is a weird one here. 6 mana, choose an enemy minion. At the start of your turn, gain control of it. I tend to go with this card is bad.
Yeah, it's like a 6 mana corruption.
Sort of, because you're paying 6 mana, so you probably didn't do anything else that turn. Let's be honest. I mean, 6 mana is a lot, and you're probably going to need some removal by turn 6 if you haven't gotten any. And this is a sad excuse for removal, because you're passing complete initiative back to your opponent. Who knows, how good the minion you hit with this even was, and they're going to do whatever they want with that minion on their turn. Just whatever the hell they want to do with it. Trade it into one of your minions and weaken it or kill it, or just get a chance to hit you in the face 1 more time for however much damage it is.
Yeah, but the lack of immediate effect is just, it's what kills this card.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely some decent targets for it. A great target that comes to mind is Primordial Drake, because you don't really have any way to deal with that as priests. A 4/8, it's almost just as bad as like an Ysera, but still, like you've just forfeited a turn almost at that point.
Yeah,
and like it's kind of investing in future turns, but there's just too much variance there, just too much unknown. What's
absolutely.
Happen.
Yeah,
just really can't see justifying this card. And up next, though, I really like this one. Obsidian Statue is a epic minion. 9 mana, 4/8 stats, taunt, lifesteal, death rattle, destroy a random enemy minion.
Oh yeah, we had a whole conversation about this.
We did, and we're about to have another one.
Yeah.
So, obviously, again, I just mentioned it. The card to compare this to with its stats, and, it costs 1 more, but it's absolutely Primordial Drake. And what we've seen from Primordial Drake is that card's pretty damn good. That comes down, and it is hard to remove. Priests don't have any tech against it. There are no spells that take it out without extra support. Mm-hmm. Unless you're seeing, like, Siphon Soul, but we just haven't been seeing Warlocks. But if they come into play, that's something that you could see. And you usually end up having to suicide at least a couple minions into Primordial Drake to get it out of the way.
Yeah.
But Primordial Drake's effect is, on the board and like the game in general is immediate, right? It comes down, it just nukes all those little guys.
Mm-hmm.
So then it probably has the potential to survive longer because it has that immediate effect and removes some stuff. This comes down, it doesn't have an immediate effect on the board, so everything that was on the board still there, might be able to trade it off, but the lifesteal on this card, as much as we kind of hate on lifesteal here, that's something you can't ignore. Because if you have to run 3 minions into this thing, you've just greater healing potioned yourself, which...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of healing.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to put lifesteal on a minion, it needs to have an ass ton of... Well, it needs to have taunt.
Which
it needs to have a ton of health, and it needs to have a decent attack stat. And this has all of those things.
And if and when you do manage to kill this thing, you lose one of your surviving minions.
Yeah. I mean, this thing's worst nightmare is Polymorph.
Oh, yeah.
Or Hex.
Yeah.
More likely.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, aside from just outright, like, silencing it, I guess you could devolve it. You could, if you're running a silence, you could silence. Mm-hmm. Silence is this thing's worst enemy.
Mm-hmm. There are a lot of things that are this thing's worst enemy. I mean, transform effects, you know, the devolve effect, silence effects. And we probably are going to see a lot of those types of cards being run, even more so than we are currently, which they're already pretty prevalent. So that is something to definitely keep in mind as far as its weaknesses are concerned. But if you manage to stick this when your opponent does not have like that perfect answer for it, like something that just deals with everything it's got going on, which is a lot, then it absolutely is capable of stealing the board on its own. One card, throw it down, stabilized. And that's what you want as priest.
Yeah, so meta depending, this could be just an insane just board swing in your favor as a priest.
It could. It's unfortunate that it's 9 mana because it definitely doesn't help you against aggro, which is one of the things that it's the best constructed to help you against.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. It is such a priest card, just like all these cards. It's like it fulfills something, but is it actually going to do what it's intended to do? And we're not sure.
Yeah, exactly.
I do like it though. I mean, I hope it works, honestly. And it does fit nicely into if there is a priest quest deck. I mean, at least the death rattle, you summon it, it counts for the quest. So
yeah, you get something out of it.
Mm-hmm. All right, and next we have the legendary, which is just a classic priest legendary.
Yeah.
So 7 mana, 4/6. So that's already terrible. I mean, we have, Curator's a 7 mana 4/6, but it has taunt and draws you cards. So what does Archbishop Benedictus do for you for 7 mana 4/6? Battle cry, shuffle a copy of your opponent's deck into your deck.
Yep. Weird.
What? So
I think this is awful.
I have to agree with you. Again, like, it seems like if Control Warrior, like this badass Control Warrior that might potentially be a thing, one of the only things that's going to be able to compete against it that's not aggro would be Priest running Archbishop Benedictus. Because they wait until they Dead Man's Hand and put all their awesome cards back into their deck and pad their deck against fatigue, and then you do this and get like 15 of their cards out of their deck and put it in your deck, and you play like an hour-and-a-half long game of Hearthstone.
Yeah, like why are we trying to play hour-and-a-half long games of Hearthstone? This is why I play aggro. I get to play 10 games.
Yeah, right.
You do this shit
in that time period.
It's just okay. Any card that reads, "Hey, remember that cool deck you intricately and painstakingly chose every single card and built and poured your heart and soul and mind into? Remember that? Fuck that." Any card that says that is bad, in my opinion. Like, your deck is no longer your deck anymore. Like,
no.
Like, why? Why put any of the cards in your deck that you put in if you're just gonna make half of it some other shit?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's just that's how it goes in my mind. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I totally agree with you. I mean, there's an argument to be made about the fatigue game and how much value is packed into this one card, which is quite a bit. But it's nothing immediate, which we know that cards are the best in Hearthstone when they do something immediately to the board, or at least to, yourself or your opponent. If this at least said shuffle a copy, then draw a card, I don't think that would be overpowered, especially for a legendary.
Fart out of it.
Yeah. So you could at least throw this card down and not be sad about it if you're just having to tempo it out.
Right.
Which is not something that you're going to want to do.
I would like to point out something hysterical.
Okay.
A comment here from Adam Bomb 2002 said, "Is this make your own card showcase?" in reference to this card.
Oh, that's so funny.
And Atom Bomb has not said anything so far, so I feel like he just got in here and might actually think that this bullshit is not a real card printed by Blizzard.
You might think that, but it really, really is. Just like Frostlich Jaina actually turned out to be a real card.
That's right. That's right.
Which we mentioned that it might not be, but it totally was. Yeah, this is 100% real. I mean, it looks like something that somebody would just come up with as a meme joke, but Priest is the meme class, and they're still repping it hard in Knights of the Frozen Throne. So,
yep.
If the control meta is real, which I have my severe doubts about it, then Archbishop Benedictus comes in and just to pad your deck with a bunch of cards that you don't even fucking know if are going to be good. So, hey, go for it. I don't know. I give it probably... I'm going to say 2 just out of like a slight reverence to Control Warrior, that it could see some fringe play.
I'll give it 1 salt.
All right, up next we have Mage. Continuing on with like really weird card choices for the class that they're in. Doomed Apprentice, 3 mana, 3/2. Your opponent's spells cost 1 more. So you're paying 1 mana more for a Sorcerer's Apprentice, and the effect is completely reversed, where you're making your opponent's spells cost more rather than decreasing the cost of your own, which I don't think that that's even better than Sorcerer's Apprentice. That effect is better than Sorcerer's Apprentice's effect.
I think the difference there is Sorcerer's Apprentice. You play it on turn 2 and you get the one mana discount, and generally you can't benefit from that on turn 2 unless you're playing 1 mana spells, which there aren't that many of in Priest that are worth throwing out that early.
Okay.
So what you've got here is a little baby Lotheb.
Yeah.
And you're throwing this out on turn 3, and that is probably the same turn you're throwing out your Sorcerer's Apprentice and trying to get some synergy with it. So, because you can do turn 3 Sorcerer's Apprentice Frostbolt. So you do this turn 3 Doomed Apprentice, and then pass, and that affects your opponent immediately.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So
definitely.
I feel like it is equal. Like you're the same turn, the same turn that you could benefit greatly from Sorcerer's Apprentice being tossed out is turn 3. So
the part where I disagree a little bit with it being on the same level is when you top deck Sorcerer's Apprentice on like turn 8 or 9, and you've got a handful of spells, and you can throw her down and get a bunch of value off of that. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Throw down stuff. You get her that late, and that 1 spell tax, that 1 mana spell tax, is unlikely to do much of anything.
Yeah, no, I don't see this as control or anything by any stretch. I think this is very tempo / aggro maybe. It's right. Just it locks in your board position a little better.
But it's something that, what I'm saying is the downside to it. I totally get what you're saying, and I do see that. Like, it can protect a board, like, decently well. Like, but the problem is it's a card that after turn 3, having it in your deck goes from okay to, like, shit. Like, you don't want to play it anymore after that. So.
But that's every aggro card ever.
Well, true, and I guess that's one of my problems with the archetype. Yeah. But it's something that, I mean, maybe.
That's interesting.
I would give it a maybe.
Yeah, I'd give it like 3 salts.
I'd probably go 2. A little less, but let's see what else we got for Mage. Okay, so here's an epic spell that's been the center of a lot of talk. Glacial Mysteries, 8 mana. Put 1 of each secret from your deck into the battlefield. So obviously the comparison here is Mysterious Challenger, but it's really no comparison because Mysterious Challenger was way better than this card.
Well, Mysterious Challenger was objectively broken as all hell.
Exactly.
So, but Paladin Secrets are 1 mana versus Mage Secrets being 3 mana, so you're getting like 15 mana worth of stuff. Like, you're getting like 5 spells totaling up to 15 mana out of 1 card.
While that may be true, even though they cost 3, Mage Secrets are still not that great. I mean, they've been seeing some play as of late, like more secrets than have in the past from Mage are seeing play. Like you're seeing Counterspell and even Spellbender, which is kind of insane. But that, like, I feel like that's a tech pretty specifically against Paladin and their Spiked Ridge steeds. But, I mean, just think about this card in practice. It takes up your entire turn 8. It does give you a lot of initiative, like, with your secrets, but, again, it comes down to that same age-old problem with Mage Secrets, which is, can they test for your secrets and not have it fuck them up? And if they can, it just doesn't matter that much, because they'll throw down a little, you know, pissant minion that they don't care about, you Mirror Entity it, and Potion of Polymorph it at the same time. And you hit, like, a 1-drop with that, and what did you really get out of it? Yeah. Also, like, you're going the whole game trying not to draw your secrets so you can actually get value out of this. And if you are drawing into your secrets, your hand looks like a decrepit piece of crap because it's filled with mage secrets. Like, I don't know, just in practice, I just don't think this could possibly work.
I think in theory, like, it makes sense, but I think there's just shit you'd rather be doing on turn 8.
Oh, absolutely. Playing Medivh, playing Firelands Portal, even though it's not on curve. Anything.
Yeah, flame striking. Blizzarding and hero powering. Like,
Yeah. I mean, we already have an incredible card for pulling secrets out of mage decks, which is Arcanologist. This doesn't even hold a candle to how much
and that's the thing. By the time you get this, which is probably a one-of, if you get it early game, well, that sucks for you. And by the time you play it, you've probably, like, gone through half your secrets.
That's what I'm saying. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just a swing and a miss, and there's no body attached to it like there was on Challenger. There's nothing here.
Yeah. I give it 1 single salt.
I don't know. I mean, secrets do some crazy things if they're backed into a corner. I'll give it 2. Just somebody's gonna try it. It's probably gonna beat me, and I'm gonna be mad. At least
just
once.
Don't craft it.
All right, next Simulacrum. This is pretty interesting here. 3-mana epic spell. Copy the lowest cost minion in your hand.
Does it come out?
I think it puts it in your hand. It would say summon, I think. Summon a copy of.
Copy.
Yeah. So, what are you trying to copy? That's the main thing. Like, this is definitely a combo enabler of some kind.
I don't know, another Antonidas?
Oh, wait, no. Actually, you want to copy Sorcerer's Apprentice, so you can play Exodia Mage.
Right, so you can Exodia better. Okay.
Yeah, I think this is an Exodia Mage tool.
This is, like, generally speaking, bad.
Yeah.
I think.
Probably, but it does fit Exodia. It does fit Exodia.
But that's it. Like, why print that card just for that archetype?
I don't know. You got me, but I just really don't see, like, what other reason you'd want to use this for. Because you're using 3 mana to make a, copy of a minion that's not even in play. So
it's like, I feel like Blizzard's all of a sudden like, yes, we support fuckery victories.
I don't know. Maybe they want to go back to combo. Like, they shied away from it, and now they're ready to go back. But
no, thank you.
Who knows? Maybe we'll even see some other things that you want to copy with this. But at this point, all I can think of is Sorcerer's Apprentice, specifically for OTK Exodia. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. One salt.
I'm actually gonna give this one 3. I think somebody's gonna use it, at least in Exodia. Up next, we are going to Warlock, which we haven't seen many Warlock cards yet at all, so there's a few of these. 1 mana, common, 1/1 minion, Battle Cry. Destroy a friendly minion and gain +2/+2. It's called the Sanguine Reveler. This is weird to me.
I think it's good.
Yeah. I would tend to say it's good too. I mean, okay, let's think of targets for this that are beneficial, or at least not bad for you.
Possessed Villager.
Possessed Villager. And, like, Possessed Villager, Coin, Sanguine Reveler, getting a 3/3 and a 1/1 on turn 1 is...
solid.
It's pretty solid.
Solid. That's some patches shit.
You definitely want to run this in the same deck as Pterodax and run other beneficial Death Rattle effects like eggs, right?
Yeah.
So, like the Devilsaur Egg.
Egg Eater over here.
So, Egg Warlock? Maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, this needs support, but this is definitely a piece of the zoo puzzle.
I agree. Yeah.
So,
all right.
I don't know. 3, 4, 3.
I don't know. Question mark, because we don't know if Zoo's going to be a thing, or at least some kind of egg warlock.
I'll give him 3.
Yeah, 3 sounds about right. Alright, so Defile, this one has caused possibly maybe the most waves of any card from the set yet. 2 mana, deal 1 damage to all minions. If any die, cast it again. So what you're trying to set up here is a domino effect.
Yes.
Right? And, I mean, like, the first thing that everyone pointed at was you cast Defile with a Dreadsteed on the board. The Dreadsteed dies and comes back and then dies again, and you have an infinite damage combo. So they actually had to change Dreadsteed when they printed this card.
They changed Dreadsteed?
They did. They changed Dreadsteed to resummon at the end of your turn.
Ooh, he sucks now.
I mean, resummoning immediately only really synergized with things like Knife Juggler.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not terrible, and, like, it's still summoning on your turn.
It's a wild card anyway, so...
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, still, like, they do still obviously bounce for wild because they actually did make that change. But, yeah, I mean, your goal with this, and it does fit into that same archetype where you're running Death Rattles that you don't care if they die. So, you say you have a Possessed Villager out, and, I don't know, some insert 2 health Death Rattle here, and then insert a Devilsaur Egg, and you've got a 2 mana, 3 damage AoE that's going to spawn you stuff that you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly see it, though, more as more of a control tool.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
potentially.
Just like, you know, do whatever you have to do with... Because it's only 2 mana. Do whatever you have to do to trade and use spells or whatever to make sure your opponent's board reads 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 health, and then cast this.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want. That's the dream, obviously. But, I mean, definitely a skillful card. And, you know, if Warlock's a thing, if Warlocks that play Defiler are a thing, it's going to be what separates, like, an excellent player from, you know, like, this card. Like, and how you use it will be how to be excellent with that deck. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, no, this is 1 damage to all... I mean, Maelstrom Portal is 1 damage to all minions. Arcane Explosions, 1 damage to all minions for 2.
Spirit Lash.
So, Spirit, yeah, that's right. So, you know, there's precedent for this, and this has the potential to just be a devastating board wipe, so...
Exactly, yeah. I definitely think it's going to see some play. I think it'll find a home somewhere. It's a very powerful card. All right, up next we have Unwilling Sacrifice. Not so sure about this one. 3 mana, choose a friendly minion, destroy it, and a random enemy minion. It's the mana cost that I don't like on this card. It's kind of a lot to invest in that.
Yeah.
Kind of an effect.
How much mana is the Hunter destroy a random minion?
It's also 3, but you also don't have to destroy one of your minions to do it.
So, it's just better.
What, Deadly Shot?
Yeah.
Right, well, unless you're using this as a beneficial effect.
Right, like destroying your own egg.
Exactly. Yeah. There's that egg thing again. It's almost like they were just like, we want Devilsaur Egg to see play, so let's make it see play in Warlock, where everything is sacrificed. So
clearly they're going for sacrifice your own shit, Warlock.
Yeah, and I'm kind of down with that, obviously, from my preferences in Magic. And
I remember
using sacrificing your minions for gain. It's just, so far I haven't seen anything that makes me say it's definitely gonna work. Like, this card's so powerful that it's definitely gonna work. I just don't think this is quite there, mainly because of the mana cost.
Yeah,
it's a little high, but yeah,
it has the potential to. I mean, you know, you always have to say, like, what if they just have 1 minion out? What if it's their big minion?
Yeah, that's very true.
You know, you're getting that free kill, but
yeah.
The fact that you have to destroy your own thing, I don't know.
Just think about how many times hunters have had to fire off a lucky deadly shot on you, though. Like, there's usually something out there that can take the hit.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the same with this card.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't seem amazing unless there's so much there to support it.
Yeah. So, next, here's a card with super weird. It's a epic Warlock minion called Gnome Feratu. 2 mana, 2/3, Battle Cry. Remove the top card of your opponent's deck. And I think this is the other card that you were talking about when you mentioned earlier. There's another card that messes with your opponent's cards.
Okay.
I
originally thought this was underwhelming.
Okay.
But the more I thought about it, I think every warlock should run this.
All right, tell us why.
Because you're removing a random card from your opponent's deck. And this gives you a ton of information. It obviously shows you what they're running.
Okay.
It clues you in on how many copies of something they have, because you know where one of them went.
Right.
So if you see the other one, you could remove something like a frostbolt or a fireball or a hex. You could get, their win condition.
True.
Like you could snipe, their end game just right out of their deck.
Yeah, like Alex Straza in a freeze mage or something.
And imagine this back in the Reno days, being like, whoops.
Kazakis. Goodbye.
Yeah. No, I think that effect is insane from just a knowledge perspective, like an intel perspective.
And it has the potential to high roll.
It has the potential to high roll. I think this card is just downright amazing.
You make a solid argument for it, and yeah, you're winning me over on it to thinking it's better than I thought it was. You're right. Getting information about your opponent's deck is never something to underestimate.
Yeah.
As long as you're paying close attention and making those reads, you remember that card is gone, and you can make different plays than you would have. And yeah, and I mean, as a 2-mana 2/3, I mean, you can easily stick that into anything.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
You can stick that into anything. Yeah, no, exactly. The stats are fine on this. I mean, it doesn't have any tribe or anything or any moniker, but that's not a huge deal for Warlock. I mean, it's not a demon, but whatever.
Right.
You're never upset to play a 2-mana 2/3. And it has the benefit of that.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't know. I feel like every single pro player is going to run this, because those games are always mind games. They're always prediction and knowledge based. Yeah. They're intel games.
Absolutely.
So
no, you make a really solid point. Yeah.
As much as I've said in the past, I hate thinking about what my opponent has.
But you know how strong it is, though.
Yeah, this forces me to think about it. I see it. I see the card. I see it. Unless it doesn't tell you.
Well, that's true. I don't know if we've seen a demonstration of that, or whether it does or not. I would think that
when you burn a card, your opponent sees what it is, right?
Yes, but it's not recorded in the game minutes, if you will. Remember, they don't show you, every action that's taking place. It doesn't show you there, but you do see it as it floats up.
Do you see what gets burned?
You do.
I think you'll see it then.
I would think so. It doesn't say secretly.
Yeah.
All right.
No. I like this. I like this card a lot. If you don't see what the card is, then no, this is bad.
Right. Yeah, because then you can't change anything that you know or how you play.
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
Don't see it. But I bet you will.
I hope I got something, but.
All right, last Warlock card. We have Treachery. So 3 mana, choose a friendly minion. Your opponent gains control of it.
Cool.
All right, so I thought long and hard about this, and I came up with exactly one scenario that's not just memey or probably bound to backfire. It will have a 100% success rate, trigger rate, and do what you want it to do, which is doing this to Doomsayer.
Ooh, 2 people in the comments beat you to it.
Well, I'm not looking at the comments, okay? They didn't beat
me.
No,
I'm just saying. I didn't mean beat you. I'm just saying we got smart viewers.
Oh, okay, yeah, definitely. It's Doomsayer, because Doomsayer says what? It says it triggers at the start of your turn. So you throw down Doomsayer, you treachery it, and they have no chance to respond to it. It's just gonna happen, no matter what.
Yeah.
That's all I can come up with, though. And, like, do you run this in your deck just for that? Probably, if you're running control.
I could see the Reno Locks of Yore doing it. Because they used every treacherous-ass trick in the book to fuck you over and keep
treacherous.
You from... yeah, right? I know. So... It's the right word. Some other suggestions: Ticking Abomination, Bomb Squad.
You don't want to pay... Okay, I can see Bomb Squad, but you do not want to pay 3 mana to give your opponent a 5/6.
No.
You know, I mean, it's going to eventually blow up their board, but, like, if they get to hit you or do any value trades first, then you've set yourself back on card advantage in a way. Or at least, you know, how you're using your mana.
Alright, so you play Bittertide Hydra. You give it... You summon... You summon a lot of 1/1 somehow.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I see where you're going with this.
You give them the Bittertide Hydra. You hit it a lot of times. You Mortal Coil it. You... I don't know. I got nothing.
No, I mean, it's definitely... I think, like I said, the only, like, 100% good thing you can do with this is probably Doomsayer, but there's going to be some meme things that I'm sure, like, Disguised Toast will pull off. You know, like killing somebody with Defile and Treachery and a Bittertide Hydra. Like, there's some meme things you could do with it, but it might be good enough. Like, the Doomsayer combo might be good enough to run it. Like, in a legit deck.
You could play Mean Streets and get a Purify somehow off a Cabal Courier. And then you could play a Great Minion, and you could Purify your minion. And then you could give them the Purified Minion. And be like, don't you wish that this minion wasn't silenced?
You nailed it. That's
10 out of 10 strategy.
Absolutely. I'm going to do it. Treachery Purify deck incoming. It's going to happen. Super weird card. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe there's some other things we're not thinking of or some other cards that it's going to work with. But we will see. All right. Paladin. Righteous Protector. Argent Squire with Taunt. 1 mana, 1/1 Divine Shield Taunt.
Funny story with this one, because I was looking at the new cards as they were getting revealed, and I was like, 1 mana, 1/1, Divine Shield, Taunt, and I was like, that's not that good. And then I was like, wait a second, this is just better than Argent Squire, and I love Argent Squire. So, this card's great. The only thing about it is, with an aggro strategy, sometimes you don't want things to have Taunt.
Right.
So,
but a minion that's got Divine Shield is probably the best kind of minion. Like, and also it's only a 1/1. So I think this is like the perfect kind of minion to fulfill like the same sort of niche that Tar Creeper fills in a lot of decks, like the Druid Zoo kind of deck.
Yeah.
Where it just comes down so that you can't make good trades. And,
yeah,
like, I think that is something that this could do really effectively.
I mean, it's 1 less mana than an Oeatron, and it's 1 less health than an Oeatron. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think it's a solid. I mean, you can just pair it with a Rallying Blade, and you get a 2/2 Taunt Divine Shield and a weapon on turn 4.
Mm-hmm. I do think Rallying Blade's going to see some play. With
I
all
sure
this
hope
stuff.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to see... It's got a higher chance of seeing play than Light's Sorrow. I'll say that.
Yeah, no, this is a cool card. I give it 4 whole Salt Shakers.
I'd probably just go 3. I mean, it's got its role, but it's not anything insane.
Would you give Argent Squire less than 3?
No,
Do you think they're comparable? I think they're comparable too, actually.
I think they're comparable, but the Taunt does make it a lot better. All right, 3.5. Taunt is worth a half a mana and a half a star, or a half a Salt Shaker.
Yeah.
All right, so. Here we go. Here's when we're going to talk about Ancestral Spirit again. Desperate Stand. 2 mana Paladin spell. Rarity. Give a minion Death Rattle. Return this to life with 1 health. What does the Shaman one say for 2 mana?
Oh, well, it says give a minion Death Rattle. Return this minion to life with full health.
So why is Paladin just worse than Shaman? Why?
Because Shaman is fucking broken all the time.
Shaman actually hasn't been broken this meta at all, but it is just funny to compare cards that like do the same thing, but one's clearly outclassing the other.
Like Oh, like Arcane Explosion, and then the Shaman card, Maelstrom Portal.
That would be a perfect example, yeah.
Or like Imp Master Morose or Imp Master and the Shaman card, the Murloc Totem thing. Can't remember what it's called.
Or like Polymorph and the Shaman card.
And
Hex.
the Shaman card Hex.
No, I get it. I get exactly what you're saying. I've said it myself. I just don't get it. But the only thing I can come up with is that every single card in Paladin that they ever make that does something beneficial for Death Rattle minions is being balanced around Tyrion. That's the only thing I can think of. And that they didn't think that having access to Ancestral Spirit on Tyrion would be fair. So
Also, Spike Ridge Steed.
Spike Ridge Steed?
Yeah, because you'd get it back.
Would if it died with enchanted with Spike Ridge Steed, would it come back with I don't think it would come back with Spike Ridge Steed on it again.
Maybe not. I can't remember how that works, but I don't think it does.
That would be crazy though, but I can't say 100%, but I would say no to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely balanced around Tyrion, and Tyrion was the first thing I thought of, because it would be crazy on Tyrion.
Oh, absolutely.
Obviously. I mean, it's just, again, just begging to be silenced, unless you do it, like, the turn after you play Tyrion, and the Divine Shield is somehow gone, and then you can control where it goes, and I don't know.
I mean, who are they kidding? It should just be a picture of Tyrion on this card, like.
Yeah, I mean, is it? Who is that?
I think it's Uther, isn't it?
I think that's Tyrion.
Is it Tyrion?
If
it doesn't look like him to me.
I gotta look up Paladin tier 10. Because if that's Paladin tier 10 armor, then that probably is Tyrion.
Okay.
Because
we need to do our lore check. Hang on.
Yeah, we gotta lore check. Where?
Because I don't know, all these grisly old paladin types look really similar.
Yeah, that's Paladin tier 10, and that is what Tyrion wears when he's helping you fight through Icecrown.
Okay, so they know exactly what they're
doing. So that's
They're
Tyrion. That
like,
is Tyrion.
You run this card if you want to get Tyrion back, but is there a better way to get more Tyrions in your deck? I think there is. Let's take a look. It's called Howling Commander. 3 mana, 2/2, battle cry, draw a Divine Shield minion from your deck. So you just run only Tyrion. Problem solved.
Right.
Well, I mean, you're just getting him immediately. I mean, it's not a copy of Tyrion or whatever, but I don't know. I always like it when there's a body attached to what I'm trying to do, You just get Tyrion in your hand. Do you really need more than one Tyrion a game? I mean, it's nice, but
sure.
It saves over your weapon, if they kill him twice rapidly. Like, I'd rather get Tyrion back with, like, a N'Zoth or something.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. I think, I first looked at this card, and I thought this card is bad. But then I thought, wait, you just don't play this card in a deck that has a ton of low-value Divine Shield minions like Argent Squire. You just run it when you're only running Tyrion, possibly another 1 or 2 Divine Shield minions.
Yeah, this is another Cabal Courier. Like, once again, this does not go in aggro Paladin that's running all the Divine Shields and Rallying Blade and all that stuff. This goes in some slower, mid-rangey control Paladin deck where you are being very specific with what Divine Shield minion you're pulling out.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's good enough to have this card to bring back Tyrion, but I would kind of venture to say maybe not.
Yeah.
Especially since Tyrion's already so vulnerable to all the same things that, like we were saying, Obsidian Statue would be vulnerable to. Devolve, Hex, Polymorph, Silence, all those things.
Yeah.
And if you just throw more value packed onto the same card, and it gets swept up in the same card that's getting rid of all that stuff, then you've really undercut yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I don't know. I don't really see it happening. But that's it for Paladin. Rogue is starting off with a super, super crazy one here. Roll the Bones. 2 mana, rare spell. Draw a card. If it has Death Rattle, cast this again. So
very interesting.
Has like the Wrathion effect on that he synergizes with drawing dragons, only is with Death Rattle minions on a much, much lower cost card. Which you can get a lot of value off this.
Yeah, I think this is good. Like, I mean, I guess it's going to depend on what there is for, you know, what Rogue has access to with Death Rattle. But we've seen in this expansion that Death Rattle's obviously going to be a huge theme. And Rogue, like, never has a problem with playing a spell for little to no reason. Just for, you know, when you've got your Auctioneer out or something to combo off of. Right. And it gets you a card. So, you know, worst case scenario, you just get a card. Rogues cycle Fan of Knives all the time just to get a card. So, yeah,
we've seen rogues run Shiv just for the sole purpose of having a combo enabler and a draw. So this could fulfill a similar role that Shiv has, with the potential to high roll almost to the point of where it would be bad for you, depending on how many Death Rattles you have in your deck.
Yeah.
Just super crazy. Like, it's a total build-around card. If you're going to run this in your deck, you need to very carefully plan what Death Rattles you have and how many. To try to get, like, on average, you probably, like, you want to try to get, like, 3 or 4 draws off of this. You know, any more, and you're really burning through your deck, and depending on how large your hand was, you could even be burning a card. So, you know, there's just a lot of things to consider when trying to play this card. Yeah,
for sure. But overall, I think this is solid. I think this is usable as long as there's some support there, which it's not going to take much. I think this is very usable by Rogue.
Yeah, if Death Rattle Rogue is a thing, like, this is going to be at least one of in that deck, for sure. Alright, so let's take a look at some other Rogue cards here. We have both of the legendaries to show. So, Lillian Voss is the legendary minion. 4 mana, 4/5, Battlecry. Replace spells in your hand with random spells from your opponent's class. This one, I'm not wild on it. I gotta say, I do not really think this is great.
It's super weird. I mean, you're getting a Yeti, so, you know, no big loss there. But I guess it's going to try to synergize with things that, you know, benefit you for having cards from your opponent's class in your hand.
Like Ethereal Peddler.
Yeah, like Ethereal, like, so they cost less or whatever. So I see what they're going for with that. But once again, it's like, hey, remember that deck you built? Remember those cards you put in there? Fuck those.
Like, are you really gonna, like, you cannot do the same thing that you can do with Warlock and Renounced Darkness that you can with this card. Because Renounced Darkness hits your whole hand and deck, and it's giving you instant discounts.
It's built in.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand why they couldn't at least build in a 1-mana discount on Lillian Voss's effect. I really think it should happen. The spells that you get back from her should be discounted, because that way you didn't just, like, do, like, it's like a side grade. It's like, you know, a 1-mana card that draws a card. Like, it just replaced itself, you know? So
yeah,
give
them a discount and don't make her a Yeti.
Right.
You know, make her like a 4/4.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Because her stats are not why you're playing her. I mean, the fact that she's got 4 or 5 stats, it's completely disregarded in your decision to run her. Yeah, I think it should be built in. Like, it doesn't make any sense for it not to be, honestly.
It's weird. It'll take some crazy synergistic support with the rest of the expansion to make this, like, really useful.
Right, because even if you're running, like, all of the rogue steel effects or something, like Swashbuckler and Burgle, I think is what the card's called, literally just Burgle.
Yeah, Burgle, yeah.
You need to be getting spells, then, for, I mean, I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. I'm flabbergasted. I don't like it. All right.
Yeah, it's not great.
Up next, we have Valera the Hollow. This is her Death Knight form, and it is awesome, unlike the last card we just saw. So the Battle Cry, it's 9 mana, and the Battle Cry gives you stealth. A hero gaining stealth for the first time in this game, which is crazy. So, I mean, it's not like Ice Block to where you could never be killed because there are AoEs that hit face, you know, like Hellfire and stuff like
Consecration,
that. Yeah, could still get you. But you're also getting 5 armor, so there's a lot of survivability built into the card, which there needs to be on 9 mana. That's something that's missing on Frostlich Jaina. You just leave yourself wide open. But you're at least getting stealth and the 5 armor on this card. But the real crazy part about this is what your hero power becomes. You actually get a passive hero power. It costs no mana. And what it says is during your turn, add a shadow reflection to your hand. And there's the shadow reflection card, which it doesn't have a mana symbol because it transforms based on what you've played. Each time you play a card, transform this into a copy of it. So whether it's a spell or a minion, you play a card, and this becomes a copy of that card. You play another card, it switches to a copy of the other card. It will cost the same amount of mana, and obviously have the same effect. So the most that you could do is play a 5-cost card and hope to play this alongside of it, because that's all 10 of your mana.
Yeah, yes.
Or, more than likely, what you're going to be doing is some kind of crazy miracle rogue turn, where you strategically make a copy of some kind of spell and get extra cards off Gadgets and Auctioneer with this.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you could do like a double Cold Blood and just win the game.
Yeah, double Cold Blood.
There's so much you can do. It's like, is there anything in your hand you want to have 2 of in your hand? Because every turn you can do that.
There's a couple times where I've wanted 2 Eviscerates. Or... Yeah.
2 Eviscerates. Look at that. Like, that's 8 damage right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will... I mean, they're no longer miracles at this point. They're just gonna happen.
Right. Like, it's gonna be... Yeah, it gives you so much control, but I do think this synergizes really well with that classic Miracle Rogue style play. So, I'm scared of this card, honestly.
Yeah, this is scary shit right here.
Yeah, this is... at least, it's very interesting, though. I really like the stealth on the hero and, like, the skill that's built into the Shadow Reflection card, and... It's all very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, man, we're nearing the end here. Whew. A lot of cards. All right.
A lot of cards.
Moving on to Shaman. All we have from Shaman are legendaries. I kind of left out some of the Murloc synergy stuff. It just didn't seem that cool to me. But Murabi, 6 mana, 4/4. Whenever another minion is frozen, add a copy of it to your hand. This card's super, super strange. There's already been something pointed out that approaches what you could call infinite value, which is having a glacial shard to repeatedly freeze. So you freeze, your own glacial shard. You get a copy of glacial shard back into your hand, which you can then throw out and freeze the same glacial shard and get another glacial shard, and so on and so forth, until you don't have any mana left, and then you throw out your last one and actually freeze an enemy target and get something good. So there's some definite potential here. We have seen Shaman getting more freezes. I didn't include it here, but there's the Burlock, which is the 2 mana 2/2 that battle cries to freeze something, just like the Glacial Shard, but it's a Murloc. So we're seeing that Shaman's getting the tools to freeze things, and you could definitely get a lot of value out of this, even if you only manage to freeze one thing while Murabi's down, because obviously he's easy to kill. It could be one of your opponent's best minions, and being able to play cards that are not normally accessible to a class is usually pretty strong.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what he's going to open up.
Yeah, there's just a ton of potential packed into this guy.
Yeah. And I really do conceptually, I really like the idea of that. Just, like, if he sticks for a turn, you could get, like, 6 glacial shards. Like, that's so crazy.
Yeah,
like, that's
insane.
Just so many minions, they can all die, but...
They all get wiped out by one card, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But, this is interesting, and this whole freeze Shaman thing, it's definitely a theme that they're going for. So we'll see if it pans out to being something, worthwhile.
It's also worth mentioning that you could just freeze Murabi and get another one of him and, like, keep the party going, so...
You sure as hell could.
I mean, there's just so much that you could do with this, and I really think that there's going to be some kind of construction that has, like, a similar, like, the same reason Priest includes Lyra in decks, like, just gets all this value out of nowhere, and I think
so you freeze your opponent's Babbling Book, right? And you play it, and you get a Frost Nova, right? and then you freeze your opponent's entire board, right?
The dream!
And then you get... Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just things like that. Like, those things are going to happen with this card. It's like one of those nutty cards that's going to allow you to have those same kind of, like, oh, Lyra gave you Shadow Word Pain into Pint-Sized Potion into Shadow Word Pain into Pint-Sized Potion, which that actually happened to me.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, just stuff like that.
Cool. All
right. So, now the Shaman Death Knight, which is Thrall Deathseer. 5 mana, so this is the cheapest one we've seen yet. Gives you the 5 armor. It looks like every one of them is going to be 5 armor regardless of their mana cost. And the battle cry is transform your minions into random ones that cost 2 more. So that is 2 evolutions, or 2 evolves, sorry, built into a 5 mana card that also gives you 5 armor.
Yeah.
I think that is going to be worth something. I think there's some real potential here.
Yeah, it's a toss-up between this and the Rogue one for which one I think is best so far.
Right.
But, God, this is terrifying.
Right, your totems go to 3 drops. I mean, 3 drops are still good. You know, obviously it's going to be a deck where you've built the deck to take advantage of the Evolve effect. You're running Evolve and this, and then you get your new hero power, which is Transmute Spirit. Transform 2 mana, transform a friendly minion into a random one that costs 1 more. So you get to Master of Evolution a single minion every turn.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much value built into this. I mean, obviously it's all RNG, which is in line with Shaman. I mean, it's what they've always been about.
Oh yeah, so. That's their bread and butter.
Yeah.
It's the only thing about this is like Shaman's so good at building a board because of the totems. So if you don't have a board when it's time to play this, or you do play this and you get wiped out, then it's going to be really hard to rebuild because, you know, you're not summoning totems anymore. You have to actually have something out to transmute. Granted, you know, it makes your early game minions way better late game because you could throw out, you know, a 5-drop on turn 7 and then transmute it and make it a 7-drop. So, you know, that's cool. It just adds value to everything you play.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely doesn't work in the same scenarios that Evolve does because Evolve's 1 mana. So you can pair it, like on turn 6, you can pair it alongside, you know, the classic combo with the Doppelgangster. Not really able to do that with this, but think about, you know, turn 6, Doppelgangster Evolve, your board's probably going to stick at least some of your minions. Then the next turn, you can go into Thrall Deathseer and make your minions into 8 drops, which that's something to really look at. So
yeah, that's pretty effed up.
And Transmute Spirit allows you to keep that value train going. Like, you know, you could do value trades and then heal your minions with this hero power, and eventually they're all going to end up, you know, being Death Wings and insane shit.
Yeah. So. Yeah, this one scares me.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. All right, so last up we have a couple Druid cards. We have Crypt Lord, which this one's been being talked about a lot, and I think the way to the card to compare this to is Tar Creeper. It would be played in the same deck that Tar Creeper currently is, which is that aggressive druid that swarms you, and it would be played for the same reasons, to protect your other minions. And it does have more survivability. It comes down with 1 more health than Tar Creeper does, and it has the potential to gain more health but when you naturally play minions in that deck. But it doesn't trade with anything. It doesn't...
Yeah.
It doesn't actually really protect your minions because your opponent can freely run stuff into this until it's dead. I honestly still believe that Tar Creeper is better than this card, just because of the fact that it trades so nicely with minions.
Yeah, Tar Creeper is just such a hazard. And, you know, this comes out on the same turn as Tar Creeper, and I can remove a 1/6 way more comfortably than I can a 3/5.
But but the argument for it though is, can you do that in 1 turn on turn 3 or 4, you know, whichever?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because if you can't, then they're going to spew more minions and he's going to get more health.
For sure. No, but I mean, when you're playing hard aggro, that's, you know, 6 health's a joke. Like, you know, you're used to trying to take out Doomsayers on turn 2, and half the time you do it. So
true. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But like, and you could probably also do that you could take out a Tar Creeper just as easily, but everything you
lose
ran
everything.
Tar Creeper died.
You lose everything.
And that's the difference.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
a 1/6, I'm much more comfortable taking down a 1/6 on turn 3 than a 3/5.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if this has like a great future in the Druid deck that it would even be good.
Yeah. No beast tag or anything. He looks like a big old fancy Nerubian.
Yeah, he is. I really like the art on this. That is the fanciest Nerubian I've ever. That's like a Nerubian paladin. Like I don't know what's going on there.
He is so gilded.
All right, and last, saved the best for last. Why don't we?
Would you say it's the ultimate card?
I would venture to say that it is the ultimate value card ever printed in this game. Ultimate Infestation, which is like I almost thought like is that like a bad translation or something, but no, it was revealed by Trump, and it is actually called Ultimate Infestation. 10 mana, epic druid spell. So what do you get to do if you play this? Well, you just get to deal 5 damage. Also draw 5 cards. Also gain 5 armor. Also summon a 5/5 ghoul. Is that enough yet? Have we reached the end of what this card fucking does?
I guess so.
Oh my god. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've, like, just whiffed on Kazakus potions. I have to compare this to Kazakus potions, because, like, you build a Highlander deck, which is obviously traditionally a worse deck than a deck where you can have duplicates.
Yeah.
And you do it for Kazakus because he's so powerful, and you need that one thing. You need his spell to do that one thing when he finally comes down. And I can't tell you how many times you just don't get it.
So what this is a reference to?
Oh, are you pulling up the reference?
Yeah, is the ultimatum cards for Magic the Gathering, which I didn't even realize it. I saw this card and I said, okay, this reminds me a lot of the ultimatums, and then I was like, wait a second, it has ultimate in the name. So this is clearly a reference to the ultimatums in Magic. The first one that came to mind was Cruel Ultimatum.
Oh, okay.
So Cruel Ultimatum is target opponent sacrifices a creature, discards 3 cards, loses 5 life. You return a creature from your graveyard to your hand, draw 3 cards, and then gain 5 life. So a lot of similarities there.
Mm-hmm.
And all the ultimatums are kind of similar. Like, they all deal with 5. This one, Clarion Ultimatum, you choose 5 cards you control and do some shit. And there's one that you remove the top 5 cards of your deck from the game, and then your opponent divides them into 2 piles, and you get half of them. And
oh, I remember that one was weird. Yeah.
There's one that gives all your creatures a bunch of abilities and +5/+5.
Oh my god, that's intense.
So it's it's clearly it's a reference to, and those cards cost a ton of mana in Magic, so it only makes sense that Ultimate Infestation would be 10 mana. So nice little MTG nod.
Yeah, I like it when they kind of make references to, MTG is kind of like the game that came before, so it's cool that they like did a little tip of the hat to that game. But to just finish up quickly my spiel about Kazakus potions, you get to run obviously most of these are the effects that you would get from a 5-mana Kazakus potion, but the draw 5 cards is way more than you get even with the 10-mana Kazakus potion, which is something to point out. But it's the fact that you don't have to run a Highlander deck to have a spell that has this much value packed into it, and there's no variance built into this. There's no AoE effect on this card like you can get with Kazakus, but you're always going to get these 4 effects.
Yeah.
And it just feels so bad to like think back on those times when your Kazakus potion has been like literal shit, like for the scenario that you need it for, and like Druid just gets handed this. No bullshit, no Highlander deck, no having to get it like crafted. It's just there. Just like go nuts,
Yeah. The part that really seals the deal with this is the draw 5 cards for me.
Yeah,
it's just like, geez, you killed something, you gained 5 life, you got a ghoul, and then it's like 5 cards? That's a lot.
It's a shitload of cards. I don't really know. Like, I mean, obviously you can come back. Like, if this card gets played on you, it doesn't mean you automatically lose, but, I mean, it could turn a losing position into a winning one. It absolutely could do that, so...
Yeah, this does seem like the expansion of Control, so...
It looks like they're pushing for it. I mean, who knows if this is, like, if these are cards that are intended to come into play later on, like maybe next year after the after another rotation happens, because they plan that far in advance to, like, set up future metas. So, who knows, maybe this will remain unplayable while, you know, Pirate Warriors and shit are still running around.
Yeah.
But we'll see. All right, that is actually it. We got through the cards.
Woo, that was a lot of cards.
Yeah. But we have more cards to read still, though, because we, of course, have our card challenge.
Yes,
happening.
indeed.
So, like we have for the last several shows, we have another little thing to say about if you're interested in submitting cards. We actually had an issue with 2 people who submitted for this week's challenge who had linked to the link that rather than like downloading the card and re-uploading it to Twitter, which is what I believe how most people submit their cards, they had just used the links to that Hearth cards, which is the site that we use to make them, that had given them, which is like a temporary link unless you add it to their gallery, which is something that, like, it's like another step you have to take. But if you just use that first URL that they give you, it's a temporary link that only lasts for, I want to say, like a day, 2 max. So by the time that we were we're making our decision and trying to pull the images off of Twitter to upload them for the show, the links went dead, and we didn't have access to look at the cards anymore. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're going to use Hearth cards. Just download the card. Just be safe.
Yeah.
Because they will purge. I mean, so many people make so many cards on there every single day that they have a pretty quick like purge on temporary images there. So yeah, it's unfortunate. Sorry to the people who tried to submit, but we were unable to read your cards.
Yeah, I think there were only 2 of them.
Yeah, that sounds right. But anyway, I posed the challenge for this week, which was out of my missing Sylvanas. Let's make a card that steals something from your opponent, which I always think is a super fun but maddening mechanic when it happens to you. So let's take a look at what we got in this week's card challenge.
Prepare yourself for the ultimate test.
All right. Up first, from Steph Van Essen, we have some sort of anime reference that I do not get, but here we go. Soul Stealer D'Arby. It is a mage secret, so 3 mana. When your opponent plays a minion, it goes to your hand instead. Summon a 1/1 soul chip for your opponent. And a soul chip is, you know, it's a 1/1, just like a sheep would be, only it doesn't have the beast tag. I totally don't get the reference, but
apparently it's a JoJo's reference.
Oh, okay. I've not seen it, but it looks interesting. I should check it out one day. I just think this is super cool. Like, it totally feels like a mage secret because it happens when a minion enters the battlefield, which there's already 2 secrets that do that with mage.
Mm-hmm.
Which is probably one of the only reasons that, like, it like isn't that interesting, because like there's already a couple things that trigger when a minion enters the battlefield. So like there's 3 separate secrets that you could trigger on the same minion. But yeah, I really like the concept behind it. It's like here's my minion. Oh shit, there it goes, and you get a little 1/1 instead.
It sheeps it, but I mean it's potion to polymorph plus you get a copy of it, so it's definitely OP.
Yeah, but you're right.
It is a really cool concept.
Yeah, I really like it. I mean, it would just be so funny to kind of see a minion come down and just be like, whoop, nope, there it goes, into your opponent's hand.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to see it happen. All right, up next from Roaming Otaku, we have 3 minion Monty, 6 mana rogue card, and this is so appropriate to me for rogue. Take 2 of your opponent's Mayans. I didn't even notice that. Minions, and 1 of yours. So I guess these are just coming, like, I would think randomly just popping out of your decks, because like you may not have them in your hands. So all right, so 2 minions come flying out of your decks and shuffle, and then you discover without looking. So you'll just see 3 card backs. Click one, and the one that you clicked goes to your opponent, and the other 2 go to you. I think that's pretty damn cool. So you're guaranteed to get one of your opponent's cards, possibly 2.
Yes. I was thinking it was on board. So.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Maybe you could only cast it if your opponent had 2 minions and you had 1 at least, or something like that. And then, you know, it's like a little bit like a brawl in that way.
Okay.
So you're like, you know, you get 2 of the minions regardless, and your
opponent like they would just like move from your opponent's board to your board.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Because yeah, you're stealing them. I feel like because it's like a steal mechanic, you know.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
It kind of is. I feel like it's a little bit. It's balanced around. You know, it's 6 mana, so I would hope that you would get more than just 2 cards out of it.
Right. So what would end up happening if you cast this and you didn't have any minions?
You might not be able to.
I guess it would just not be able to be cast. Okay.
Yeah.
This would be, I mean, it's in Rogue, but it would be so funny to like see it played in Paladin. It's like, here's a Silverhand recruit. It's like, okay, right. I hope I give him the Silverhand recruit.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I love that. It, like, you know, it's really powerful, but also just like kind of RNG based. But,
yeah.
But it's still like, you could pull off some sick shit with that. So thanks for that, man. All right, next we have Overlord CHS's Infestation. 4 mana. This is a hunter card. Infect 3 random minions in your opponent's deck and give them secretly Battle Cry. Your opponent gains control of this minion. And then they also gain Death Rattle, summon a 1/1 Parasite, which is a 1/1 beast. I really like the idea behind it, but it's way undercosted for that effect. I mean, obviously you don't know when you're going to actually take control of a minion, but just imagine when they start drawing into those things. That's going to be insane. And they get an additional Death Rattle to summon a beast.
Yeah, I don't even know if that part was necessary, but just makes it even more powerful. But I mean, yeah, I'm torn because it has no immediate effect, you know, and I feel like hunters really want things that are going to come out and do something, do some damage or get some, you know, board presence, and you just, you know, that's kind of a dead turn.
True, yeah, I mean, in the same way that I guess like the ambush card.
Yeah, ambush. What was
Beneath the Grounds?
Beneath the Grounds, yeah.
Yeah, no, maybe it is on point with the mana cost then, but I'm just thinking about how badly that could go for your opponent. Because with Beneath the Grounds, okay, they just drew the card and you got an Nerubian. It didn't interrupt their turn. It didn't suck up their mana. None of that. It just happened, and then they even got to still draw another card. This, you killed their draw that turn. Like, they didn't draw a card. They spent mana. They couldn't have no way to plan around this, so I mean it'll be devastating if they draw into those minions that were infected.
Yeah, it's very high roll.
Yeah, but really cool idea though, and I get why the Parasite Summit. It's almost more just like to tell the story of the card rather than like an effect they really needed to have, which is that the Parasite was the thing inside of it that was controlling it. So
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it reminds me of Animorphs.
Yeah,
remember like the slug that goes in their ear? Yeah,
the Yerks or whatever.
Oh, I don't remember what they were called.
Yeah, I think they're called Yerks. Yeah, I don't know.
I just remember that I used to watch that show religiously. Of course, like we were both obsessed with Animorphs, and when the show came out and they did that episode where one of them like absorbed an animal the wrong way or something, and it was a crocodile, and she had to like vomit the crocodile out in like the bathroom at the high school or whatever. And I was like, it was like a super weird episode, and my little stepbrother, you remember Ty was watching it with me, and he was like fucking traumatized because like there's this girl like puking out an alligator. It was like a crocodile or whatever. It was so weird. Anyway, up next from Heilung, we have Bound Torment, which is a 3-mana priest epic spell. Choose an enemy minion. If that minion attacks, take control of it at the end of the turn. So this is like a version of that 6-mana spell that we saw that was printed that's actually potentially playable because of how much cheaper it is. Half the cost.
Yeah.
Now, the minion has to attack, but And there are clearly minions that like you still benefit from without attacking, like Ragnaros, you know, just an example. But the fact that you can get this out so early and just like shut a minion down, like obviously they're just not gonna attack with it unless it somehow benefits them. So you're still giving your opponent that initiative to like somehow deal with it in a way that's okay for them.
Yeah.
But it's like more removal, honestly, and it gives you a way to deal with those pesky 4-attack minions. That's pretty much the main function that I would use this card for.
It is basically removal, and they basically can make one trade with it or one face swing with it. And if they're trading with it, then it's got to be a trade where it dies, or else you get control of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it is effectively removal, and it's cool that there are exceptions to it, like Ragnaros, or you know, big taunt things like a handlock that's playing the carnivorous vine thing. What is that called? I don't know. What it's called.
I can't.
The 4/8 can't attack.
Yeah, I know. I can't remember either.
Yeah, so like, and there are exceptions that, you know, aren't necessarily affected by attacking.
Right.
So yeah, no, this is a very interesting card.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at the very least, it takes some of the pressure off of you, which is not to be underestimated in Priest, because the longer the game goes, you have a better chance at winning it. So if you can shut down, even just shut down, like stop the attacks from one of Pirate Warrior's minions or something for a couple turns, it's not to be underestimated. So it's got a lot of subtlety and things that you can use in it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, same.
Thanks for that, Hylon. Good to see you back on here. All right, up next we have I'm a Dragon. Again, he always makes it on here. You make some good cards, man. We have Inside Job, which is a 3-mana rogue spell. Discover a minion in your opponent's deck. When that minion is played, cancel its battle cry and gain control of it.
So it's like a miniature version of the Infestation, except you get like a choice.
Exactly, and that's the main thing about it. Like, there is no immediate effect, but imagine using this and discovering, you know, your opponent's Medivh, your opponent's Alexstrasza, you know, Tyrion, any of their big board flipping or like winning conditions, and you have a much higher chance of doing that with a Discover than you do with just a random effect. And you just shut it down. The battle cry doesn't happen. If it's a beneficial battle cry, nothing. They play it, and you just get it.
Yeah, the Discover makes it really interesting.
Yeah, the Discover is what makes it good. If it wasn't a Discover, then
you know, you can find a high priority target there.
Exactly. And again, you know, your opponent won't know what it is, and if their back's into a corner, they have no choice but to try to play, you know, the way that they're most likely going to win, and it could just totally backfire. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I really like that. It's super cool. All right, and last up here, we have the only card submitted that went with stealing a weapon, which I didn't even think of. It was a super cool idea. It's from Renee Ant, and it's called Weapon Thief Apprentice, which is a 4-mana 2/3 rogue card. Battle cry: steal your opponent's weapon. So as opposed to, you know, throwing out Acidic Swamp Ooze and blowing it up, you just take the weapon with whatever durability they have left, and combo renew its durability. So.
Yeah, this is super interesting because it's got the same stat spread as an Acidic Swamp Ooze, which is at 2 mana, and you're destroying a weapon. So I think at 4 mana, stealing it is pretty fair.
Yeah, I agree. I would change one minor thing about this, because I mean, stealing a weapon is incredible value gain, because like then you get the weapon, but this card is so bad if you're playing against a non-weapon class. So I would change the combo on this just slightly to where it would still, like, you wouldn't feel as bad playing it if you're not actually stealing a weapon when you play it. I would have it say combo, give your weapon +1 durability.
Yeah.
So that even if you do not steal a weapon, which would overwrite a weapon if you had one, it would just come over and just break your weapon, as, you know, equipping a weapon would do. But if you don't actually steal one and you have a dagger equipped, or you have an assassin's blade or whatever equipped, if you trigger the combo on this guy, you'd still at least get the durability. and get a little bit of value out of this way overcosted 2/3.
Or it could even say renew your weapon's durability.
That's true. Yeah, it renew your weapons. I mean, that would be pretty strong. Like, especially like you could run this without even intending to steal anything, because you could refresh like Assassin's Blade, which has 4 durability on it, which would be pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, super cool idea there to steal a weapon. I
love this
my
one.
mind. Yeah.
When I saw it, I was like, wow, that's pretty powerful.
Yep. All right. So thanks for everybody who submitted. We, as always, got some super cool ideas.
Yeah, awesome job this week.
All right, let's take a look at yours now.
Oh, yes. I'm waiting for it to pop up on the stream because I don't... Oh, I remember what I did. When, you posed this challenge, so I was like, all right, I'm going to make a very, very Clash card. And you always liked those edicts for Magic.
I sure did, yes.
That made your opponent sacrifice a creature. So you didn't target them specifically. They had to choose. And that's not really a thing in Hearthstone. Your opponent, it can't be like your opponent chooses a minion. Anyway, what this does, it's 6 mana. It's called Vol'jin's Edict. Epic spell. Your opponent discovers a minion they control. You gain control of it. So, regardless of what they have out, they're presented with, a choice of 3 out of all their minions. So if it's just 1 minion, then it's 3 copies of that one. And then they have to choose one of their minions to give you.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
If they've just got their 1 big fatty out, then this is a 6 mana mind control. But if they've got a flooded board, then, this is way less useful.
If they've got Tyrion and a Silverhand Recruit, well, you're getting a 6 mana Silverhand Recruit, because your opponent gets to choose. So it's a skillful card. It's a play around card. If you're playing against a priest, you would have to keep this in mind anytime it would be possible to play it. I really like it because there are those turns where classes have to commit to playing a huge minion without being able to throw any support on the board with it.
Right.
Those big plays. Like I keep coming back to Medivh and Alexstrasza, but those are just kind of like the most central in my mind right now, based on how the meta is right now with Mage dominating everything.
Yeah.
Just think about like that 9 mana turn, and then you just Vol'jin's Edict and steal their Alexstrasza. You're like, whoops.
Yep, that's mine now.
Yeah.
And then you still have 4 mana to play with.
Yeah, exactly. I like it a lot. Again, another example of a card that would be playable in a viable alternative of a cheaper mind control than the one they made.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and last, here's mine. Also a priest spell. I mean, stealing things, priests, they kind of go hand in hand. So this is based off of an actual ability in World of Warcraft that priests had for a short period of time. I think they changed it pretty quickly after the last patch of Wrath of the Lich King. It was a weird thing where as you moved around, you would spawn these shadow copies of yourself that would slowly walk towards your target and then hurt them. It was super weird, but I kind of liked it, so I used that as the concept for it. So it's 5 mana epic spell called Shadowy Apparition. Straight up take control of an enemy minion. So just target it, take it, it's yours, just like mind control. But spawn your opponent a Shadowy Apparition with the same attack and health as the stolen minion. So basically what you're doing is you're trying to steal a high value minion. She's not standard anymore, but a great example would be Sylvanas. If you targeted Sylvanas with this, you would get Sylvanas and they would get a vanilla 5/5.
Yeah.
So that is how you get value off of this card. It's a dead card in a lot of situations, Pirate Warriors, a great example. All they're playing their minions for are bodies to hit you in the face with. So playing this would do almost nothing because you don't affect their board in any way. You just get a minion for yourself. Yeah, that's my reasoning.
I like that this is the same mana cost, and I don't know if you did this on purpose, but this is the same mana cost as Faceless Manipulator.
Oh, yeah. I didn't do it on purpose.
Because a lot of the time, if you don't have any good targets, you can at least throw out Faceless Manipulator and match your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So this basically does that. It's, best case scenario for them, it's like a Boulder Fist Ogre, and then you get a Boulder Fist Ogre, and they still have a Boulder Fist Ogre. But if it's anything with an ability, then it probably still is a little better than Faceless.
Right, because you're coming out on top by having the minion that has the ability.
Exactly.
Like, you know, using this on Ysera, and they have a 412, and you have Ysera. You know, that's way better. You
can Faceless your own stuff, and you can't do that with this. So
no, you can't.
You're gonna I think it's balanced. I think 5 mana is the right call for that.
Word.
And it's just a cool concept. I remember those shadowy apparitions and how you had to Mega Man them.
Man them?
Yeah, because you were actually the one that told me about this. Somebody was saying you could only have 3 shadowy apparitions out at once.
Right.
So you wanted to be as close to the boss as possible. So the apparitions got there faster.
Yes.
And you'd spawn a new one. And Mega Man can only have 3 lemons on the screen.
Oh, I see the
So the closer you are to your target with Mega Man, the more lemons you can put into him faster.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely a wacky, like, out there sort of mechanic, especially for Priest, because, like, the way that shadowy apparitions spawned, like, if you were standing still, which is something that you had to do when you were channeling, like, Mind Flays or whatever, the chance to spawn a shadowy apparition was, like, 2% or something, like ridiculously small. Like it probably wasn't going to happen. But when you were actually in motion, it went up to like 60 or something ridiculous. Like while you were moving, you were going to spawn these things. So what you had to do is like you had to stand still for certain parts of your rotation, but the Shadow Priest also had a ton of what they called instant cast spells, which had no cast time or cooldown, and you could cast them as you were moving. So you had to do this really weird rotation where you'd stand there and channel, and then you would just like run around like a psycho, throwing all your instant cast spells on everything, and then you stand still again. Like, it was so weird. Yeah, but I liked it a lot.
Little mini game.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, before we talk about WoW for another hour, that does it for the show. Thanks everybody for watching. As always, it's a blast to hang out with you guys, see your awesome creations.
One thing we need to not forget is the next card challenge.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
which
please.
I just thought of on the fly here, because that's how we do things around here.
It wouldn't be us if we didn't.
So we're for the first time, we are seeing cards that actually affect your opponent's supply of cards in their deck and in their hand. So for the next card challenge, design a card that affects cards in your opponent's deck or hand. So, you know, removes them, or I don't know, copies them for yourself or whatever. But these cards, you know, they are not to be targeting things that are already on the board. They're going to affect things that your opponent has not yet played.
Right. So. Okay. So like the example to point at, like from something we talked about tonight, would be like Gnome Feratu.
Right. Remove the top card of your opponent's deck. Or the Geist that blows out all 1-mana spells.
Right, yes,
So it can be, you know, you could target spells, you can target minions, you could say, you know, just, well, you know what, I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to,
We got some smart folk on this show.
We do have some smart folk.
We got it. So, again, if you want to submit, we love getting as many submissions as you guys want to send us. So, but we only pick one per person. If you send us 3 cards, we're only going to pick one of those cards. And we use hearthcards.net to create the cards. It's the easiest way. It makes them as PNGs, and they're real nice and shiny. And just tweet them at us at Salty Dog Podcast on Twitter, or you could tweet them at Dookie Shed, or at me, which is at Clash, KLASHE_HS.
All right.
Well, guys, thanks for hanging out, and until next time, as always, stay salty.
Stay salty.